Daniel, and this is
Melvin.
and welcome to the annual presentation for Math and Science. On this day, history will be made. What we have in store for you will blow your mind and will be the one that change how everyone would travel from place to place. It takes 60 days to travel across the United States by horseback, plus an additional 10 to 20 days when dealing with mountainous terrain. But what we're about to show will make that time a joke. Let's consider seeing the world from new angles, new perspectives, and will allow humans to fly. Assistant, will you please reveal the public what we have in store for them today?
Of course. Alright, so this is what we're going to call the hot air balloon, which will go into more detail on why we named it that. So, of course, this is only a prototype, of course. That's why you guys are here to invest. But here's the general idea. So this is a new state-of-the-art invention that will allow humans to actually fly. Because before, trains were the ones who were on the ground, taking people from place to place. Boats were the ones that allowed countries to communicate with one another and send cargo to one another. But now, with this machine, we'll be able to send humans into air now, which was never heard of until what we're going to present to you right now. So the only thing that's powering this is not magic or anything, but science. And we'll go into more detail as to how, after we give a few basic facts about what this contraption can do.
Now, to begin with, no electricity is needed to power the ship. Just oil and manpower. So, Nikola Tesla, get out. No horses needed at all. Save money, which is something that we want you all to do. You can travel comfortably 1,000 feet up in the air without any worries about falling to your death. It can carry anywhere from 6 to 16 passengers. Imagine, 16. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
The basket is made to carry the passengers as they can see sight near the edge of the corners of the basket, and will have a complete basket and instead of a platform to make sure that the passengers are safe and will not fall and sue us. Flights last a little over an hour, or less or more, depending on where you're going. Baskets will be made out of woven wicker for its flexibility, durability, and ease of repairs. Balloon will be made out of polyester and nylon for its durability against the wind and high temperatures. The flame heat will be coming out of a burner stored in the center of the balloon contained to make sure passengers are not burned, but can reach the balloon proportion to make it sink and rise.
Exactly. All right. So what it can do and what it will accomplish. So with this invention, horses will now become obsolete. There's going to be no need for more horses unless traveling goods because this is more like traveling people. But when traveling like lots of loads of cargo, then we still need horses and stuff. Okay, so now people will be able to travel in America from city to city, which is much easier than a train like that only has a specific track, because now they can actually view the outside and have some fresh air instead of going on a direct trail that they only have one option because the train is in Louisville and you have to get to Charleston. So we have, multiple airships now, or hot air balloons that are going to be able to deliver people from city to city. So how it works is actually quite simple. All of this is just buoyancy and gravity. So what happens, which we'll demonstrate more later as to how it works, but what's going to happen is, can you help me? So a flame will be lit in the center right here, represented by these candles. So what will happen is that hot air, it's a simple concept actually, hot air rises and cool air sinks. So what will happen is that when the heat goes off inside the center, hot air will rise into this bag, allowing it to expand and actually lift the entire basket up with it. Because hot air is lighter than cool air, which will rise up, letting whatever it's carrying rise up with it because of the amount of surface area that's inside the balloon. And so what happens is that gravity is pushing down on it, but because there's enough air pulling up against gravity, the basket can lift. And so the way for it to descend is that we're actually going to have a hole on top right here or I don't know if the people can see it, but there's going to be a hole on top of the balloon. And that's going to allow the hot air to escape, allowing an equilibrium to be reached so that the temperature on the inside of the bag it's going to be around the same on the outside. So that will cause the hot air balloon to start descending again. And with gravity working again, because it's not being forced upon, gravity can then start pulling the hot air balloon back down to Earth, which is how how passengers are going to descend and how they're going to get back home safely. And you can go.
And then, furthermore, benefits for the investment. This is serious. And this is a very serious investment that will change the future for many future generations to come. You, individuals, will be the first pioneers to change just how people will travel for the future. You will lay the groundwork as to people and how people will travel from place to place, as well as traveling from country to country. People will be appealed to the idea of human flight, and it has already been proven by the test of the French back in 1783. That is the idea of humans taking flight is safe and can be affordable.
Mm-hmm.
See, in the 1700s, King Louis XVI had an idea of the hot air balloon being tested, but not with civilians, but with prisoners. And the reason behind that was because he said that prisoners were better to sacrifice because no one was going to care for them. They were eventually going to die. So why not test the hot air balloon to see if it was going to be successful? And if it crashed and people died, well, they were people who were no use to society. But two people, a aristocrat and a scientist, were brave enough to test the hot air balloon, and successfully it worked.
Mm-hmm. So we know for sure that this design and this contraption is actually safe and actually can be used for profit. So we know it's been tested already, so this can be used in making business.
Yes, customers who are trying to buy a ride from the hot air balloon will need a ticket to get on and will pay depending on how far they'll go. We are seeking an investment of $20,000 to establish a network of sites where the 10 balloons can operate in the local areas. Over a period of time, we will expand out of the country and move all across America, where citizens can use ride for relaxing getaways from working in the factory hours at a time and can just appreciate nature. And not just our country, but outside of our country, globally, which is something that we want to aim for.
Yes.
After establishing a network, we can then make research and development to improve the idea of aerial transportation to make it faster, more convenient, and more efficient on fuel to lower costs in handling the hot air balloons.
Oh, okay. Let me talk. Okay, so there was only one slight problem, and that is we need that 20,000 so that we can build sites, because the hot air balloon, as of right now, we can only go for an hour. So it moves quick enough at a quick enough pace, but an hour of fuel is not enough to get very far if you're trying to go across to another state. So we're gonna have to create a bunch of sites where the hot air balloon can actually land and refill and then get back up to mobilization. So we're gonna need funds for at least towers for air traffic and like landing platforms and for fuel, because we don't want any injuries and anybody suing us because we weren't prepared for this situation. So we're just giving that warning before anything bad could happen against us.
Yes, and to conclude with our presentation, the future is now.
Mm-hmm.
The train and boats are an idea of the past. If society wants to get smarter and faster, this is the first step to take for a better tomorrow. What we are doing today will shape the future. Our descendants, history books will write about this moment, knowing today this is the day the world watched as we changed to the course of history and perhaps humanity. Thank you and good evening.
So right now we're going to show you a demonstration with a little model prototype of how it would work and the science as to why it's performing what it is. May you please light the candles.
This is the one that's dead.
Even now as we speak, I can feel the hot air rising. So what the candles would represent is a heating junction inside the center of the hot air balloon, which would allow hot air to rise, and you can let this bag fill up with air, which is a great way to move up. So with enough surface area, this would allow the entire bag to float upwards and start actually levitating. As you can see, like, this bag is filling up by itself. So that's how we know it's working. And so the hot air inside of here, as I can feel it right now, it's very hot inside of here. It's much hotter than it is in this outer area right here. It's much more hotter. So it's going to start rising up while the cool air is going to sink right beneath it. And it's going to want to push up against gravity. And so what this will do, this allow, is the hot air balloon would able to rise. And we would actually have a hole in here. Like a little hole, like a lid, so that users can pull on it too if they want to move up and down. So that is the entire idea. So gravity would come up from behind. The hot air would make it rise up. And then having the lid up top will let it sink. There's a whole idea behind the hot air balloon. And hopefully it will be a success. Because right after, with enough funds, then we can start making R&D. And we can start improving the hot air balloon. And maybe even come with more aerial transfer for the future. Because this is the future. Aerial transfer is how we're going to get to know each other better. How people are going to get to places faster. Where we need to be faster. And honestly, if it weren't for if you aren't investing in this, I don't know what you're doing. You're not investing for the future. All right. That is our presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed. We're looking forward to hear back from you guys, and thank you for listening to our idea, and hopefully you invest your money into it, because the future is now.